I've grown most, not from victories, but from setbacks. If winning is God's reward, then losing is how he teaches us. Serena Williams. Guys, this is one of the just a rad quote. I love these quotes. The quotes that I'm bringing up to you guys, trying to encourage you guys with, are based on what the words say. Like, you may not like the person. I don't really know what she's doing anymore. Now she's not doing Texas tennis. I think there was a commercial where it was either her or her sister where microphones were dropping, and it was a car commercial or something. I don't get it. Marketing director is stupid on that one. But this is beautiful. That talks about how she says, I have grown most not from victories but from setbacks. If winning is God's reward, then losing is how he teaches us. Guys, of course, it's great when we win, right? We could say that it's God's reward, say whatever, because I don't necessarily fully believe that it's just necessarily, I think a lot of times God lets us put in work. And, she also put in all the work to be a tennis champion, world champion. I don't know if they call it that in the tennis world, but when you put in this reward, or when you put in this work and you get the reward, you lose and you're taught, right? And this is one of the hardest things now. We always want to win, right? But what happens if you never lose? What happens if you are so on the podium all the time, number one, number one, number one? Like, what's the challenge? How do you move forward? Setbacks shape us more than success ever could. Guys, again, if you're always the top of your class, you're never going to move forward, right? You're only going to be at the top of your class, and then you'll get to a point where you won't. There was a book, I forget the name of it. I think Malcolm Gladwell wrote it, and it was talking about the idea how every student that comes to pretty much Harvard is like a valedictorian or salutatorian, right? They have all gotten A's all their lives, which is great. It's amazing, all throughout high school. They've just been top students. But when they get a B, he said that there's some students that literally drop out. They are so destroyed because they hadn't ever had a setback before. Guys, what are some setbacks that you are going through right now, that you have gone through, and how are they teaching you? Also, I just got a remark on this shirt. I've had this shirt for years, and it makes me feel like I'm going to like a rave or something. I don't know why I'm wearing it, but it had to be different. I couldn't wear white t-shirts all the time. I don't know if I'll wear it outside, but what have you gone through? What setbacks that you've gone through have turned you, or is making you into the best part of who you could be, your best self? How is God working through this loss in your life? Because he's always working. He's always working. It's funny. I was just talking to my dad about this. Like, when things are really good, it's hard to remember God. But when things are really bad, you're getting on your knees. You're like, Lord, I need you. I need you. I need your help. I need your voice. I need your presence. I need to feel you're here, you're near, you're with me. A job loss, the loss of a family member, a friend, a relationship, you lose whatever, right? God, I need you. Guys, victories feel good, but they don't always grow us. The beauty is, again, when we look at our relationship with God, what happens when we go through difficult times? We rely on him. If we're doing and we're living life according to what we should be learning on Sundays, we trust in God. We rely on God. We lean upon God. When everything is good, I'll be honest, I forget about God. I do. What about in your regular life? Think about sports. Think about when you win all the time, you're just the best person. But even the people who make it to the NBA in the basketball world, right? I don't know what I was going to say. In the basketball league, basketball world, they've lost. They're not always winning, And when they get to the NBA, they still lose. And I think the losing, but pushing past it, is what's going to help them grow. If they never lost, they would just be super, super egotistical and prideful. And I bet they wouldn't even make it, because no coach would want to deal with that. Victories feel good, but they don't always grow us. It's in the hard stuff, the delays, the disappointments, the closed doors, that God does his deepest work. Guys, if you are feeling some pain, if you're feeling some issues, you're feeling some setbacks, know that God is not allowing you to go through that because he's angry or he's mad with you, right? That's not how God works, right? It's just not how he works, right? The anger of God towards our sin is an end of life eternal perspective. God is not walking around shooting lightning bolts at you because you did something wrong. In this life, we can receive Jesus to cover over the anger of God because of our sin. But God doesn't work in the sense like he's just trying to drag you down. But in the hard stuff you go through, the delays, the disappointments, and the closed doors, how is God doing the deepest work in you right now? What is he doing? How is he speaking to you? Are you listening to him? Are you relying upon him? Are you leaning upon him? I've grown most not from victories, but from setbacks. If winning is God's reward, then losing is how he teaches us. Guys, God uses loss to teach, and it's not to punish. As I said, God is not someone who is sitting there to just punish people. Right? Yes, people sit there who are not a Christian. They'll find some story in the Bible about, oh, well, God killed off all these people. It's like, well, if you read the whole story, the whole Bible, which is it's a long book, I'll tell you. Just take my word for it. It's a God's pursuit for his children. He loves his children. He fights against those who go against his children. But God is not using loss to punish you. He's using it to teach you. He's not the author of it. John 10:10, Jesus says, I have come to give life and life abundantly. God is Jesus. Jesus is God. Same thing. But the devil has come to steal, kill, and destroy. Remember. I have to remind patients in the hospital all the time, God is not the author of your sickness, your cancer, your loss of a person, right? And they died early. It's not God's plan. It's not God's will. However, he will use it. He will use it. And you say, how would he use the loss of my child to teach? It's not like we look at teach like a school, like to get graded, to pass or fail. It's like, no. He will use it to help you learn how to rely on him, to remain in him, to look to him for sustenance. Losing isn't failure in God's kingdom, it's formation. Look at the cross of Jesus. Jesus, God, Jesus, right? It's synonymous, right? God came down, took on human flesh, right? He died for our sins. And you would say, oh, wow, that was a failure, right? I bet people in the 3 days before he rose back from the dead, right? And I just want to tell you, this isn't just a biblical, there's historical context saying this dude rose from the dead. This dude was seen after he was killed and buried. But how many people probably were like, oh my gosh, this dude's a loser. Like, he lost. God uses even the loss to bring healing, restoration. Hebrews 12:11 says, no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but it produces a harvest of righteousness. Guys, we have to trust him. You know, we think about discipline, and a lot of times we think about when we were kids and our parents disciplined us, or a teacher disciplined us, or the cops, unfortunately, if you had to go through that, would discipline you. So discipline is a very negative word, right, to some people. But if you look back on it, you may not have agreed at times with those who healthily disciplined you, but at the time it didn't seem pleasant. But it produced a harvest of righteousness in your life, right? The chores that you were taught, the responsibilities you were given. Discipline does not seem pleasant at the time, but it produces a harvest of righteousness. Guys, we got to trust God that he is working. He does not use loss to punish you, but to teach you. I've grown most not from my victories, but from my setbacks. And if winning is God's reward, then losing is how he teaches us. Guys, pain reveals what comfort hides. And again, it's nice to be comfortable. We live in Florida. We don't all live in Florida. I live in Florida. I have a house. It's got AC. I currently have the blinds closed because, I'm filming, so it's usually better to protect the light, or keep the light from coming in. Also, it keeps the house cooler. I've got a fan on, the AC down, which I sometimes change on my phone. I'm comfortable. But when you go outside, you're uncomfortable, right? If you try to go outside and walk at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, Says it's 93, it feels like 99. And you will reveal that you are a little bit out of shape if you're out of shape, or that you can't do as much as you thought. You will bring a water bottle. It will reveal what you're feeling. You may feel you're moving well inside when it's 75 degrees. You got the AC pumping, the fan's blowing. You got a cup of water next to you, ice water. I got my electrolyte emergency. Right? When everything's comfortable, you don't have anything, you're not facing anything difficult. But pain reveals what comfort hides. Setbacks expose what is in our hearts. Pride, impatience, fear. Guys, I'll just be honest. I have pride, I have impatience, and I have fear at times. Right? I'm not going to claim it. I'm not going to say this, that. But like there are times where I've been prideful, impatient, fearful. I'm impatient when I drive sometimes, and it's getting better. Praise God. He's doing a work in my life. But the setbacks we face reveal what's in our hearts. Guys, when things go crazy, when they go wayward, when they go in a direction you didn't plan for, where do you go first? Who do you go to first? I'll be honest, guys, insecurity will drive you to your phone, to social media, trying to find stuff there. You'll go maybe do something that's not healthy out of insecurity. Maybe girls, sometimes they show a bit more skin. Guys, they go out and try to drink too much or whatever. Like there's different ways that we respond. But let the pain expose what is in your heart. When things go wrong, who do you go to first? If you're a Christian, is it to like your spouse? Is it to your friends? Not a bad thing. But one thing I'm trying to do better at, which I'm not always good at, is going to God. Because we want to have a lesson gained from the pain, right? God uses loss to teach, not to punish. We need to be taught to come to him in the midst of it, the pain, the impatience, the fear. Pain reveals what comfort hides, but they also reveal what's in God's heart for us: growth, strength, and deeper trust in him. Guys, it's not always easy. It's not always fun. It's not always enjoyable. Most of the time it's not, right? If you're a masochist, you like hurting yourself, then maybe you're fine about it. But most people do not like to go through pain until, I say if you were a masochist, but I take that back, until you realize what pain creates in your life. How through the pain we can grow, find strength, and trust in God. Becomes a habit. The more pain we go through, the more we're like, God, I have gone through this pain before, or similar pain. I've gone to this person, that person, that, and I need to just come to you. When we get that, it makes everything better. I've grown most not from victories, but from setbacks. If winning is God's reward, then losing is how he teaches us. Guys, God grows you in the soil of struggle. I've said this before, there's these 60-foot palm trees not outside, but across the way from where I live, in my backyard. And those trees have gotten to where they've gotten for a reason. They fought through the overcrowding of a forest, right? Like there are trees that probably didn't make it and they pushed through to the top. Like nobody went out and planted all these trees like, oh, I'm going to plant one here and plant one here. Like people do that now, which is great because supposedly you don't have as many trees. Keep knocking them down to build houses. Sadly, mine was one of them. But God put these trees there. They were there upon creation. But they grew through the struggle. The other trees trying to get in the way. Things maybe like birds or whatever trying to eat it, whatever it was, or knock down, or I don't know, whatever thing could mess with it. It grew through the soil of struggle. I would encourage you to write down the things or reflect on the things that you've struggled with. Column A, column B. I don't know how it's going to look on the column A, column B, whatever it looks like. Struggle, what I learned. What feels like a loss today may be preparing you for a bigger victory tomorrow. Guys, it's not always easy going through pain. But when we go to him, when we lean upon him, when we lean upon Jesus, God, Jesus, synonymous, right? When we lean upon him, we find victory. It doesn't mean that everything gets better right away. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden the problem just disappears. But he is the strength that we need. Philippians 4:13, Paul is writing, I believe in the midst of jail. He was imprisoned for talking about the love of God shown in Jesus, right? And he says, I can do all things through Jesus Christ who gives me the strength. You can do all things through Jesus Christ who gives you the strength. My grandpa told me, I was just telling my dad about this when I was in high school and I was going through my brain injury recovery. I was like really angry, and he calls me, he says, Stephen, you can do all things through Jesus Christ who gives you strength. Guys, what feels like a loss today might be preparing you for a bigger tomorrow, bigger victory tomorrow, bigger overcoming tomorrow, new opportunity tomorrow. Trust the season even when it doesn't make sense. Remember that nothing is wasted. Right? We talked about in the past couple of videos, we've talked about how we have to trust in what God is doing. And seasons come and seasons go. But I love how God has literally prepared in the Bible everything we need for our lives. He has provided everything. He says, if you make your bed in hell, I am there. Right? If you're going through hell and you're down here, hopefully you can see my hand, I'm there. If you're up here in the heavens or you're on the mountaintop, I'm there. When things are really good, I'm there. If things are really bad, I'm there. Trust the season, even when it doesn't make sense. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is wasted. Nothing. God is not a wasteful God. He has purpose with everything. Again, I have to remind you guys, he is not the author of sickness, cancer, early loss of a life. He's not, but he will work with it. He will use the loss to teach, and it's not to punish. I've grown most not from my victories, but from my setbacks. If winning is God's reward, then losing is how he teaches us. What if you recited that every day? It'll be at the top of the video. It'll be in the description of the video. Copy it. Write it down. Put it on a sticky note. Put it on your mirror. The importance of these videos, they're to encourage me, but to you. We're encouraging each other, right? But I want to learn this stuff more, so I encourage, because I want to be more of an encourager. Ask this in the middle of your setback. Lord, what are you teaching me through this? Lord, what are you teaching me through this? Ask him. Sit with him. Psalms, it says, be still and know that I am God. Trust him. Lord, what are you teaching me through this time? It's important we look to him and we ask. Some things we will get answers for. And you say, oh, I've never heard from God. I promise you have. Again, I was talking to my dad about this earlier. It was a great conversation, right? He felt, he heard the voice of God. He didn't feel, he knew he heard the voice of God. People say, that's crazy. I've never heard the voice of God. A lot of people call it intuition. I believe that's the voice of God. We could talk about that in another time, but I believe it's the voice of God. You just are like, I shouldn't do that. I believe that's God. That's the Holy Spirit guiding you, leading you, directing you in the right path. Lord, what are you teaching me through this? Don't rush through the pain. Lean into the lesson. The win is coming, but the wisdom is now. Guys, the win is coming doesn't necessarily mean it's going to look like what you think it's going to look like. But we can know that there is for certain, there is wisdom that is coming right now in the midst of what you're going through, your struggle, your battle, your difficulty. To win is to get past it. The win is to overcome it. The win is to walk through it and knowing, yes, I used to go to X, Y, and Z, but now I come straight to God. I used to do this, but now I go straight to God. I get into prayer. I get into reading. I get into worshiping. I used to drink. I used to smoke. I used to put on heavy metal music. I used to get angry. I used to punch things. But now I come to God. Now I pray. Now I read the Bible. Now I ask people for prayer. I go to godly counsel. I rest in Him. Don't rush through the pain. Lean into the lesson. The win is coming, but rest right now in the fact that you are being taught. You are receiving wisdom. God is moving through you. He is growing in you. He is providing for you. He is sustaining you. He's doing all these things. That's a win in and of itself. But the wisdom will reveal what the win actually is. If you lose a job, the win is to get a new one, right? Of course, right? But I would say the greater, earlier win is how you deal with the loss of a job. I had to reflect on this. I didn't lose a job, but it was a change of some employment stuff. And I lost a job. I was let go from a job a year ago, and I was really, really angry. This time I was a lot less angry. So I'm an entrepreneur, so it's like these things happen. But that's a win. What is the win? How is the win found in the midst of your setback? Serena Williams says, I've grown most not from victories, but from setbacks. If winning is God's reward, then losing is how He teaches us. Guys, I would say if you're going to win in this life, you have to go through setbacks. You have to face your difficulties. You have to face your weaknesses. You have to face whatever is keeping you from growing and moving forward. I've talked about the idea. You're facing things where sometimes you have, remember we talked about a couple of days ago, the people, like, we were talking about how artists' like secret is they will take what somebody else has done and they will use it, like somebody has hit the ceiling up here with their talent. They will use that as the floor for them to grow further. But sometimes we have to remember, guys, some of the setbacks are the people in our life, the circumstances, the places we're in, the things we're doing, the habits we're holding on to. They are keeping us from growing. We have to hit this roof at times to realize this is not allowing me to grow. Drinking every night, smoking weed every day, hanging out with that person, going to the strip clubs. I don't know what people do, but like, they are not progressing and they're not helping me grow in life and in God. God grows you in the soil of struggle. The pain you're going through reveals what comfort hides. God uses loss to teach and not to punish. He's not the author of what you're going through. Now remember, guys, that setbacks shape us more than success ever could. That verse, which I'll read as I close out, is from a champion tennis player for years, maybe a decade. I don't know, I don't follow tennis. She has embraced her setbacks, and they have helped her become one of the greatest tennis players that I believe in our time have ever lived on the female side. I know it's not fun to go through discomfort, pain, setbacks, but if we can see it as an opportunity to grow and we go to the source of life, Jesus, God, again, synonymous, we can go through the setback really, really well. Really good? I don't know. How are you dealing with your setback today? Write this down. Read this out loud. I have grown most not from victories, but from setbacks. If winning is God's reward, then losing is how he teaches us.